All Renegades of Puck to the trenches. It's time for Renegades of Puck TV. Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the essence of No Half Steppin'. Before we get started on the No Half Steppin' hockey coverage, let me direct you to renegadesofpuck.com. Once you are at our home website, you will find all of the information about the Renegades of Puck, including our merchandise link. Once you go to that merchandise link, you'll find the classic logo t-shirt, you'll find the Pride logo t-shirt, and then you'll start finding all of the gimmicks the Renegades of Puck are famous for. Socks, throw pillows, wall art, it doesn't matter to the Renegades of Puck. We have over 55 items with our logo on them in our store because we've sold out, and the Renegades of Puck have sold out so that you can buy in. Appreciate each and every one of you for picking up some of that merchandise. Critical important right here, Renegades, social media. We need your help. It doesn't take you but a second. It doesn't cost you a penny to give us a subscription on YouTube. Once you find those episodes of Renegades of Puck TV on YouTube, it would be of great importance and help if you were to spread those links around. You can do that by using Facebook, and when you're on Facebook, you can also give the Renegades of Puck a like. You can do that on Twitter by retweeting and also liking our original tweets at Renegades of Puck, and you can also find all of the Renegades of Puck right there on Twitter, all very interactive. Instagram, we have representation right there, and we appreciate if you would give us a follow. We do have a SoundCloud account, and the audio-only podcast is there, but we will have new information on where you can find that soon, as it will be moving as of May the 1st. I cannot wait to tell you more about that soon. Our behind-the-scenes live stream is on Twitch, and we sure do appreciate the community we're building right there. If there are any second takes, mistakes, or F-bombs, you'll find them right there on the live stream, and that's the only place you'll find them. We do the fully produced version of Renegades of Puck TV, all cleaned up, edited, and looking good over there on YouTube, and we do the ugly version. It's not pretty, but it's real broadcasting, and we do that over on Twitch. It's also highly interactive, and we have the opportunity to respond to you guys out there in the trenches as you may have questions or topics that you want us to discuss. We also share bonus content on Twitch. So, again, another way to consume the essence of No Half Steppin'. If you'd like to become a partner of the Renegades of Puck, and several of you haven't, we sure do appreciate that. Go to Venmo and search Renegades of Puck, or scan the QR code that's on your screen right now. Extremely easy to do. Any donation goes a long way to help, so if you can donate just a couple of dollars, well, believe me, it will go to help the Renegades of Puck directly as we continue to build out and upgrade our operation here in the bunker for the Renegades of Puck. Now, I know you're here for the No Half Steppin' hockey coverage, so it's time for me to deliver the goods. Operation number 637 for the Renegades of Puck. That's right, show number 637 now in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. And on this date in hockey history, the Nashville Preds currently find themselves in fourth place in the Central Division. They have skated 75 times this season. They hold a record of 43-27-5. 91 points has them fourth place in the Central Division. They are currently 8 points behind the Minnesota Wild, and they are 9 points behind their next opponent, the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues and the Minnesota Wild are almost assured to meet in the first round of the playoffs as the 2-3 matchup in the Central Division. So for the Nashville Predators, they will be taking on a team that played today and had to travel and also clinched a playoff spot in an incredibly taxing game that we will discuss a little bit more. But continuing on with the standings at this point in time, the Nashville Predators currently hold a 2-point lead over the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars will be in action late night tonight. The Winnipeg Jets are fading quickly and now are 10 points behind the Nashville Predators. The wild card race, which of course for the Nashville Predators, since it looks like they have almost no chance other than mathematical to get into the 2-3 matchup in the Central Division, the wild card race becomes much more significant to us here in the bunker. The Preds are the number one wild card team in the Central Division at this time, or in the Western Conference, I should say, from the Central Division. With 91 points and 7 games remaining, they lead the Dallas Stars by 2 points. The Dallas Stars in action tonight have 8 total games remaining. The Vegas Golden Knights have already lost today to the Edmonton Oilers. They have 87 points and are on the outside looking in. They have 6 games remaining, and Vancouver is the other team still remaining in the race at 84 points with 7 games remaining. So the Nashville Predators close the day with 91 points going into tomorrow's action. Dallas could have 91 but cannot improve where they are, and the Vegas Golden Knights are 4 points out of a playoff position no matter what behind the Nashville Predators going into tomorrow's action. That gets you caught up on the latest standings. Now, let's start talking about the Nashville Predators' next game, the next most important game of the season for a team that is very much in a playoff race but does have control of their own destiny. The Nashville Predators on home ice have a record of 24-13-0, and they are taking on the St. Louis Blues, who now have a record of 19-11-6 on the road. The Blues have scored 280 goals on the season and given up 246, while the Nashville Predators have scored 241 and given up 217. For the Nashville Predators and St. Louis Blues, this will be the final regular season meeting between these two Central Division rivals. You go all the way back to November 11th to find the first meeting. It was a 4-3 overtime victory for the Nashville Predators in St. Louis. Big Save Dave was in that game, and he got the victory. 33 out of 36. Matt Duchene led the way with 2 goals and assists for 3 points. Cutton and Trennan chipped in with a goal. Binnington took the loss, 23 out of 27. On the 17th of January is when they'd meet for the second time, and it would be in St. Louis again. The Blues would score a 5-3 victory on their home rink in this game. Husso 32 out of 35, while Shen with 2 goals and 2 assists and Barbixov with 2 goals and 2 assists did the damage. 4 points each. UC Saros took the loss, 24 out of 29. Forsberg, Johansen, Trennan able to chip in with goals. The St. Louis Blues would come into Bridgestone Arena and barnstorm the Nashville Predators with 3 goals in the third period on March the 12th. A 7-4 victory overall. Husso again starting against Nashville Predators, 31 out of 35. Perron and Thomas 2 goals each for the St. Louis Blues. Once the Nashville Predators wrap up this weekend back-to-back and this regular season series against the St. Louis Blues, Tuesday night they will close out the 5-game homestand against the Calgary Flames. Then it will actually be a brief break in the schedule before Saturday. The Preds will be in Tampa Bay. Then Sunday, home against the Minnesota Wild. The 26th against the Calgary Flames. The 28th at Colorado. The 29th at Arizona. That finishes up the regular season schedule. For the St. Louis Blues, their most recent stretch of action has been fairly impressive when it comes to the amount of victories and points that they are piling up. Now 100 points. They've clinched their playoff spot in the Central Division. The only spot to be determined now is, are they going to be the number 2 or the number 3 seed for the home ice in the first round? Their most recent stretch of action, I'm just going to go back 5. I'll go back to April the 8th. It was a 4-3 overtime victory versus the Minnesota Wild. Then on the 9th, it was a 6-1 win versus the New York Islanders. On the 12th, they had a 4-2 win at the Boston Bruins, then a 6-2 win at the Buffalo Sabres, and most recently this afternoon, a 6-5 overtime victory versus the Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota Wild at least made the St. Louis Blues work incredibly hard, forcing them into overtime before St. Louis comes away with the victory. So a very taxing playoff-style game in Minnesota for the St. Louis Blues. And again, now 100 points and clinching that playoff spot. They're on a plane currently heading to Nashville to face off against the Preds in an early start tomorrow. Husso started in this game, so I expect Binnington to get the start in the next game against the Nashville Predators. It was Binnington that took the only loss in the regular season series for St. Louis against Nashville. Binnington's records are 15-13-4, a .902 save percentage, a 3.14 goals against average. Flipping over to the other side for the Nashville Predators, expect to see Big Dave save Riddick in the game. 5-3-2 is the record. The numbers look so much worse than they really are, though. An 8.91 save percentage, a 3.21 goals against average. And again, this would be the same matchup as the first meeting of the season between the two teams when the Nashville Predators went into St. Louis and picked up a 4-3 victory. There are a lot of numbers to throw at you, so let me get to it. When you take a look at the NHL rankings between these two teams, St. Louis is going to lead in the majority of these metrics. Goals for 3.68 is 4th best in the NHL, while goals for 3.19 is 14th best in the NHL for the Nashville Predators. In goals against, the St. Louis Blues are giving up 2.81, and that is 10th, while the Nashville Predators are giving up 2.87, and that is 11th in the NHL. Shots for St. Louis generates 30.5 on net per game. That's 18th overall in the league, while the Nashville Predators generating 29.8 is 22nd. In shots against, St. Louis again leads in this metric. 31.7 given up against per game is 15th, while the Preds are 19th in the NHL, giving up 31.9 per game. In special teams, the St. Louis Blues also lead in both of these statistical metrics. In the power play, they're second best in the NHL, converting at 26.4%, a highly lethal and skilled power play with plenty of high-skilled individuals. I'll go over their individual stats here in just a second. The Preds power play is 7th in the NHL, 24% overall conversion rate, 55 out of 229 on the season. On the penalty kill, St. Louis is the 5th best in the NHL. They've only given up 33 power play goals against on the season, while the Nashville Predators at 14th in the NHL in penalty kill have given up 51 power play goals against on the season. Affecting this matchup, no doubt, will be injuries for McCarron, still out day-to-day for the Nashville Predators, and we saw Luzon try to test the ankle coming back into this game after getting injured early in the first period against the Chicago Blackhawks, but we have no idea if he is going to be ready to play tomorrow. The Nashville Predators will probably be making some lineup changes because of the quick turnaround anyway. I would anticipate even if Luzon is healthy enough to move on forward, they may rest him at least one day because the injury looked fairly scary, but it was good to see him back up and on his feet, at least giving it a test. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the individuals, and of course, there are some incredibly high-skilled individuals in this matchup. The Nashville Predators are paced and have been all season long by the captain, Roman Josi, now moving to the 20-goal mark on the season after the most recent game against the Blackhawks, 68 assists, 88 points. Matt Duchene is at 39 goals. That is your franchise record for a single season in goals with 39, 37 assists, 76 points overall. Forsberg at 38 and 36 for 74. Johansen at 23 and 35 for 58. And Kyle Granlund moves to 10 goals on the season, now 45 assists for 55 points. And I gave you Big Save Dave's numbers, but I also, though I don't anticipate him playing, wanted to give you something about UC Saros. 37, 23, and 3 on the season. That 37 represents the number one spot in the NHL for victories by goaltender. Now, a 921 save percentage, a 2.53 goals against average are in nowhere near the neighborhood of becoming a Vezina finalist this season, but I think UC Saros and the Nashville Predators would be more than happy for him to lead the NHL in team victories rather than have some individual stats that are good enough to get you into an awards conversation. It is, overall, about the team at the end of the season. 82 games, get to the playoffs, and then try to win 4 rounds of a best of 7. UC Saros, leading the league in wins at this point in the season, is highly impressive. It is, after all, his first season as an NHL starter. It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. Rebirth Sports, you can find them online at rebirthsports.com or on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. More than just jersey makers, they are hockey tailors, and they can outfit your entire operation. I sure do love being in partnership with Rebirth Sports because they make a great product. They're also great people. Everywhere I go, everywhere I skate, whether it's for the Mighty Drunks in league play here in the Middle Tennessee area, or it's in charity events all across the United States Pond Hockey Championships, everywhere I skate, people stop me and ask me where I got the threads that I'm wearing out there on the rink. And every time I enjoy stopping and talking to them about Rebirth Sports and just what Rebirth Sports can do to help their operation out. You've seen the home jersey, the road jersey, and the third jersey for the Renegades of Puck, but you've also seen so many other incredible jerseys out there. I encourage each and every one of you out there that owns a Rebirth Sports jersey that watches this show, please testify on social media and let Rebirth Sports know how much you appreciate what they do supporting us here in the trenches. They are truly great people, and we have been so excited to be in partnership with them for this season here on Renegades of Puck TV. If it wasn't for great partners and great people like Rebirth Sports, we would not be able to do what we're doing here in the trenches. You give me 10 minutes, I'll give you the game. You give the Renegades of Puck an additional 10 minutes, and we'll give you all the analysis, stats, and opinions you can possibly handle to keep you up to date with everything concerning the Nashville Predators. Now, let's break down this game. It was on April 16th of the year 2022 when the Nashville Predators were welcoming in the Chicago Blackhawks. John Hynes deployed his newly jumbled lines this way: Trennan, Johansen, and Janot, Forsberg, Granlund, and Duchene, Cousins, Sissons, and Cunnin, Tolvanen, Glass, and Tomasino. Your defensive pairings: Josi and Faber, Ekholm, and Carrier, Borowiecki, and Luzon. UC Saros gets the start in net. Now, these lines are incredibly jumbled. Not a single combination that had been together in the last stretch of games is skating together. Even the Herd line broken up to start. Let's see if this gets the Nashville Predators out of their offensive funk and catches the player's attention. We are 2:10 into the first period, and unfortunately for the Nashville Preds, Luzon wheels off the half wall and tries to make a play clearing the puck out of the zone, and he falls awkwardly with a lot of his body weight going down on the ankle as it twisted. He leaves the game. We would see him return momentarily, but not take another shift, but it was a good sign to see him still at the rink and not having to have been rushed away immediately to go for surgery for a broken ankle or something like that. Of course, we'll get some updated intel on that injury very soon. 3:22 of the first period, Tolvanen's got his 10th goal of the season, giving the Nashville Preds a 1-0 lead over the Blackhawks. It was a sweeping shot from the high slot. Glass got the play started out there in the neutral zone. Tomasino moved the puck up to Tolvanen. Tolvanen puts the puck in the net. The new future line is out there paying off already early on in the first period. The Preds have a 1-0 lead over the Blackhawks. We're 5:05 into the first period. UC Saros coming up with a save on Seth Jones's long shot. It's the first shot on goal of the game for Chicago. At 7:30, Chicago's getting another shot on goal. It's their second shot on goal, and it's going into the net. It's Kane, and he's got that sick release in his 25th goal of the season. He converts on the 2-on-1 after just an absolutely brutal, terrible pinch by Dante Fabro. At this point in Dante Fabro's development in his career, he simply cannot make this brutal play. Everybody could see what was about to happen. As a matter of fact, he was baited into the pinch, and the Chicago Blackhawks go off on the 2-on-1, evening this game up at 1 apiece. 8:17 in the first period, Ent whistles off the box. 2 minutes for cross-checking on Roman Josi out there by the blue line. Good possession by the Nashville Preds, but they would only be able to generate one shot on net for the entire 2 minutes. At 11:39, Cousins drives the net hard on a 2-on-1. He beats Lankinen, gets him out of position, but he cannot finish due to a stick check by Stillman, saving a goal for the Blackhawks. At 13:30 of the first period, Duchesne's off to the box. 4 minutes for high sticking. The Preds PK would be incredible. They would have two shots against and numerous block shots. As a matter of fact, at one point, 3 players going down to block a series of shots and jamming the puck up, keeping it underneath them for several seconds. And that effort was led by the one and only Colton Sissons, bringing the jam on the PK out there. We're at 18:54 of the first period. Lankinen comes up with the save on Tomasino from the high circle. At 19:19, Duchesne's already going to the box. 2 minutes for interference this time. Saros comes up with a save on DeBrincat. We hit the end of the first period. Nashville out shooting Chicago 7-6. A carryover of 1:20 on the Duchesne penalty leads to one shot on goal for Chicago, and overall a strong penalty kill by the Nashville Predators. Lankinen's about to go to work right here because at 2:26 he comes up with a save on Duchesne. 3:40 a save on Cunnin in the jam opportunity. 4:06 a scramble stop opportunity, and then Roman Josi coming with the jam. And then we go back down to the other end of the ice. 4:23 Casaros is coming with a save on Johansen. And 5:15 Kubalik's 13th goal of the season gives the Blackhawks a 2-1 lead at Bridgestone Arena. Way too many Blackhawks in Bridgestone Arena today because they got an absolute roar when they scored this goal. It was a tip-in of a shot pass, and it was an easy redirect into an empty net. UC Saros so focused on trying to stop the initial shot that this simply was a play that he could not make. The Blackhawks have a 2-1 lead at Bridgestone Arena. We're 5:33 into the second. Saros is coming up with a save on Kachuk plus a rebound and some large scrum right there. We would see a bunch of penalties issued out of this scrum. No manpower would be affected. 5:58. Roman Josi's coming up with his 20th goal for the season. It was a give and go with Ryan Johansen that ends with the tap-in. Looked much like the finish of the Chicago Blackhawks' most recent goal. And although Roman Josi scores this goal, and it is his 20th of the season, tying the game up to a piece, I have absolutely got to go back and rewind and tell you about Ryan Johansen's read and performance from the neutral zone all the way to the finish of this play. It was Ryan Johansen's world-class distribution service. As Ryan Johansen is exiting the defensive zone, he is on the left wall right at the blue line. As the play goes into the neutral zone, he reads, recognizes, and cuts all the way across the zone from the red line to the offensive zone blue line. He then receives the drop pass from Josi, waits, delays, sets it all up, and when Roman Josi gets in position, perfectly puts the pass onto his stick for the finish. It was just an incredible read and play by Ryan Johansen on this tie game here in the second period. 7:03 of the second period, Roman Josi appears to score, but it is an obvious offsides. It was obvious offsides live. It was even insanely obvious once they saw the replay. As a matter of fact, this was such a gigantic waste of time. I don't understand how a linesman did not see this and call this. There were 2 players offsides, and not barely offsides. Matt Duchesne was reaching backwards with his stick as if trying to create some optical illusion that the linesman would buy that, oh, well, his stick was back over the blue line. I mean, this was fairly embarrassing for the guy that is the linesman, the guy responsible for watching the blue line. And the reason it's so frustrating is because it had to be challenged, it had to be reviewed. It only took a couple of seconds. But for the Nashville Predators, they've had these plays continuously offsides, reviewed, called back as of late. And this one, it should have just been handled with a whistle before Yossi ever even touched the puck and put it into the net. But we are now moving on. 10:43 of the second period. Borowiecki's shot causes some trouble in the crease for Lankinen, and that also leads to a scrum as the Nashville Predators are jamming away at the rebound. 16 minutes of the second. Nashville's off to the box. Too many men on the ice. That's a 2-minute penalty. And DeBrincat's coming up with a scoring opportunity. And it is a strong PK by the Nashville Predators. Again, 19:05 of the second. Lankinen stops Forsberg on the breakaway. I thought for sure Philip Forsberg was going to be converting right here, but he was unable to. At 19:12 of the second period, we see Regal off to the box. 2 minutes for high sticking. Matt Duchene scoring his 39th goal of the season, taking over the team lead. It was a greasy rebound jam from the slot. When I look closer at it on the replay, though, Mikael Granlund actually sets this play up. But it was still some jam from the slot for Matt Duchene, giving him his team-leading 39th goal of the season, giving the Nashville Predators a 3-2 lead here at the end of the second period. The Preds out shooting Chicago 26-17. We've got a clean sheet. We're coming out for the third period, and Mikael Granlund's picking up his 10th goal of the season at the 3:14 mark of the third period. It was just an absolute perfect deflection off of Ekholm's shot pass to the side of the crease. Mikael Granlund's 10th goal of the season gives the Preds a 4-2 lead, and the Preds just go on to control the ice for several shifts in a row, forcing Chicago to become a dump and change team. So we go all the way to 11:54 of the third period. Lankinen comes up with a save on Duchene on the doorstep. 12:41. Saros comes up with a save on Kubalik plus the rebound jam. 13-12. Saros back to work. Taves off of the rush here with a good scoring opportunity. 14:31. Chicago not done in this game yet. Stillman's second goal of the season makes it 4-3 in favor of the Preds. Redirect off of a perfect Kane pass across the zone. We saw a lot of that in this game. Both teams expertly working the shot pass opportunities. Chicago is down by 1 goal now in the third period, and they are pouring on the pressure with the empty net in the final minutes. I note that at 17:44, Saros save on Kane at 18:15, a save on Radish at 19:58, one last save on Seth Jones, and the Nashville Predators are able to close this game out 4-3 on home ice and come away with the victory. The Nashville Predators end up with 34 shots on goal. Chicago Blackhawks end up with 31 shots on goal. For the Nashville Predators, for a little bit of this game, it got away from them, and they found themselves behind by a goal. But they, for the most part, fought in this game, and they did exactly what they had to do, and they beat a team that is eliminated and is playing for nothing other than to be spoiler. And for the Chicago Blackhawks and Patrick Kane, they would have loved to come to Bridgestone Arena. They had a number of their fans in town. It was a matinee. They're having a good time, and they would have loved to have spoiled this day for the Nashville Predators. The Preds did what they had to do, and John Hines, jumbling up the lines, seemed to reawaken the Nashville Predators a little bit. More back to their style, more scrums, a little bit more grit, a little bit more sandpaper, some greasy goals. For the Nashville Predators, they're going to need to bring all of that and a whole lot more. A much better opponent is coming tomorrow to Bridgestone Arena. UC Saros was 28 out of 31 in this game, earning his 37th victory of the regular season. Now, let's all recall that UC Saros, up until this year, split time with Pecorine, and this is his first season as the full-time Nashville Predators starting goaltender. He is representing himself in an incredible fashion, and for large stretches of the season, looked like he would have the numbers to be involved in the Vezina Trophy race. Now, those numbers do not matter nearly as much as team victories. 37 team victories is currently number one overall in the NHL. I think to the coaching staff, all of his teammates, and probably even UC Saros, being number one in the NHL in victories is probably more important than having the individual statistics to win an award after your season is over. There is no doubt that UC Saros can backstop this Nashville Predators team in the playoffs and be very successful at doing it. If he can maintain the level of effort that he has put in this season, well, then the Nashville Predators will, of course, have a fighting chance against any team coming up here in the best of 7 of the first round, whether that is the Calgary Flames or if that happens to be a different opponent for the Nashville Predators. We're going to find out here in the next couple of games. Nostradamus is off tonight, so we'll move on with the rest of the analysis, and I'll talk to you about Strong Style Fitness. You can find Strong Style Fitness at strongstylefit.com. Also, social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Over 150 workouts by a certified personal trainer, completely on demand for you, and totally donation-based over there on YouTube. Tracy believes in her work and has done such an incredible job, Renegades, that she has made her work free for each and every one of you. She's more concerned about your health and your happiness and your fitness than she is about making a lot of money. So please take advantage of the opportunity to use the Strong Style Fitness service. I have seen the results, I have experienced the results, and we will be seeing new workouts coming from Strong Style Fitness very soon. Again, stick taps, love and respect to a renegade of Puck that believes in themselves so much that they're willing to put their work out there for free to help each and every one of you. That deserves a little bit of your respect. So appreciate Strong Style Fitness. We got to talk about this game that happened this afternoon and then get you all set up for St. Louis tomorrow. The first thing I want to talk about is the Preds penalty kill. They were 4 for 4 in this game against a fairly decent penalty power play unit. When Patrick Kane is on that power play unit, it is always going to be a strong power play unit. Of course, they also have Seth Jones, they have DeBrincat, they have Taves, they have a wealth of options on the power play, and the Nashville Predators were able to shut that down completely today. I especially want to highlight the 4-minute double minor for Duchesne in the first. The Preds were able to kill off, blocking numerous shots. Colton Sissons, what he was able to do out there on the ice. It was frankly bringing the jam on the PK, and the Nashville Predators really needed that in this game. So the Preds PK unit going 4 for 4. Got to give them some stick taps on that one. And the youth line, John Hines going ahead and throwing together the line of Tolvanen, Glass, and Tomasino. They are the future of this franchise. There is no doubt. Glass has gone down to the AHL and done everything necessary with the Milwaukee Admirals to earn his spot back up. And so far, what I am seeing is he is a different player than what we saw at the beginning of the season. Great job by the system developing another prospect. He'll be ready to go as soon as the Preds need him to go, probably next season. Also, Tomasino has developed incredibly throughout the year, and we see Tolvanen back on the score sheet again tonight. So, great job by John Hines being willing to put together such a young line like that with such little experience at the NHL level. They represented themselves incredibly well, and I think they should get another opportunity tomorrow against St. Louis to come out and do the very same things. That is the future of this Nashville Predators franchise. Definitely wanted to make sure I spent a moment talking about them. Sean C. Smith is in the trenches tonight to talk all things Nashville Predators hockey. He was on the front lines today. He's going to bring you the intel that you need to know. He had a chance to talk to John Hines. He also had a chance to talk about some other concepts like the disallowed goals, all of the offside situations going on. And I have a feeling that John Hines might be starting to detect just a little bit of half-stepping in the game right there, even though the result was positive. I'll let you decide. I'll let you listen to Sean C. Smith, and I'll let you listen to the head coach of the Nashville Predators. They're coming up right now.
Thanks, Charlie. Hey, Renegades, Sean C. Smith. I want to talk a little bit about the Predators. And normally I say, hey, let's talk a little bit about this game against the Blackhawks. But let's start off talking about something else. And I want to talk about a subject that is near and dear to my heart. But what we have coming upon us is the final game that will be broadcast on TV with Pete Weber and Terry Crisp. Now, if you have been a fan of the Predators for any amount of time, you will know that Pete Weber and Terry Crisp were the two guys that broadcast Predators hockey games to you back when the whole thing started. And I'll say this, I've gotten to know Pete Weber over the years as I've been covering the team, and it's a friendship, it's a relationship I've really come to love and appreciate. And I had a chance to talk to Pete about Terry Crisp retiring. I put an article out about that interview on theforecheck.com. I'd love you guys to check it out. I'm going to tell you this. If you have any experience with the Predators, if you have any love for hockey, and it comes from your time watching the Predators, and I'm going to say that Terry Crisp and Pete Weber probably had something to do with it. If these guys have been talking recently, you've heard them saying things like they're thinking about their legacy. And the legacy they're talking about is how many children they have raised into hockey. Talking about how now you have fathers who are now grandfathers bringing their sons and their grandchildren or their daughters and their grandchildren with them to these games. And I think about myself, and I'm just going to be really frank and honest here. Look, I was born in California in a time when the San Jose Sharks didn't exist. They came to California like right after I moved to Kentucky. And in Kentucky, there is no hockey. At least where I lived, I don't even think you could find ice anywhere if you wanted to. There was a roller rink where you could skate, but that was about it. And I'm going to be honest. When I moved to Tennessee, I didn't know the first thing about hockey. but my wife did. And the reason my wife knew about it was because she started watching the games when the Predators first came to town. She'd buy cheap tickets and go to the games because it was a fun thing to do and it wasn't very expensive. And where she really learned about hockey was listening to Pete and Terry on the radio and watching the broadcasts throughout her 20s. And when I show up on the scene, here I am, new to Tennessee. I go to a Predators game. I had no idea what's going on, but then she introduced me to Pete Weber and Terry Crisp, and that's where I learned a lot of the things that I know about hockey. And of course, now that we have children, they're learning things about hockey because I learned them from Pete and Terry. And so Terry Crisp and Pete Weber are going to be on the TV broadcast as the Predators take on the St. Louis Blues on Sunday, and that's definitely going to be something you don't want to miss, because whether you've been watching this team for 20 plus years or 20 games or whatever it is, these two gentlemen are a huge part of the fabric, not just of the Nashville Predators, but of the Nashville community as a whole. And I'm going to say this, don't miss the opportunity to check them out doing their thing one last time together, because it's a historic moment for both of them. But these are the guys that got it all started, and these are the guys that when you look back, I think anybody who's come up with this team and say, who's been there the whole way, you can point to Pete Weber and Terry Crisp and say that they were there. Now, I don't want to get emotional, so I'm going to stop there and talk about something else. But like I said, let's talk about this game against the Blackhawks. And I'll try to say this. Something Terry Crisp always says is to bring the passion. Let me try to bring the passion. I've talked about Cody Glass on the show before. I said long ago at the beginning of the season when he was sent down to Milwaukee that being with Carl Taylor was quite possibly the best thing that anyone his age and his position could ask for. He was down there for about 60 games. He's come back to the big team in the NHL after Carl Taylor made the comment that he made a play, and it was basically his way of screaming to the world, hey, I'm an NHL player, get me out of here, and now he's in Nashville. And, I said that on the last show, and then you see he had a great game today, and instead of me tooting my own horn and talking about how right I was, I'm going to let somebody else do it. John Hines, take it away.
Well, I think his pace of play is higher, meaning he's playing the game faster. Like he's skating, he's making his skating's a factor in the game. I think he's making quick decisions with the puck, when to advance it and when to move it. And the other thing, I think his battle level has been pretty strong. Where he gets in some of the confrontations for the puck, he's winning more of those battles than he's losing. And that was some of the things that we saw early in the year with him. It was the speed, the pace, the strength, and I think the confidence level that he had. He hadn't played a lot. He was coming off an injury. He didn't play a lot the 2 years prior to that. So, it's really the development process of a young guy that we believe in Cody. We think he's going to be a really good player, but he's a young guy. He's a 22-year-old kid that hadn't played a lot of hockey in the last couple of years, and to be able to go down and get 60 games under his belt and refine his game and play big minutes in important situations and gain his confidence. That's a lot of times what happens with young guys. So he's had a couple good games, and hopefully he continues to play the way he's playing.
Well, thank you, John Hines. And as you can see, I'm not the only one who noticed that about Cody Glass. Cody Glass did and will continue to do an incredible job for this team down there playing on the fourth line with some other young guys, Tolvanen and Tomasino. And I tell you what, if you can get that line to keep producing, you get them start getting some things together, getting used to each other, you're looking at the future of this team. And that's exactly what I want to see. Now let's move on and talk about something else. There's been a bit of a line shuffle, a little bit of a shakeup in the lines over the past few games. But what we saw today was the return of the Forsberg, Granlund, Duchesne line. And that is a line that for a long time, at least amongst a lot of us that follow the team really closely, we saw that line a couple of times very early on, even last season. And we said, no, give us that line. That line works. That line's magical. Put it back together. They stayed together most of this season, producing huge results, and recently kind of got broken up a little bit. But they were back together against the Blackhawks, and I think you really start to see the value of Mikael Granlund when he's playing with those two players. He makes things happen out there on the ice. He does an incredible job, and I've got to say I'm glad to see that line back together. Ryan Johansen had a chance to center Yakov Trenin and Tanner Jeannot. A little bit of a different look, but I tell you what, That's three big dudes that can lay the body down when they need to, and maybe you didn't see gigantic results from them, but I like that moving forward as you start to see down the road going into this final stretch of games before the playoffs. You're going to want some lines that can do some damage. And as much as I love some of the guys that were playing on that second line before, there just wasn't a lot of stuff working. And I hate seeing Colton Sissons get taken away from Trennan and Jeannot, but I think Sissons is a very reliable center. He's a very good two-way player. He's very good defensively, very smart, and I think he's going to be just fine with those guys. They play an edgier game too, and I think that's going to pay off for that third line, especially now the fourth line, if it stays the way it was set up with Cody Glass between Tolvanen and Tomasino, looking at a little bit more offensively heavy line down there on the fourth. Now, I don't know if things are going to change moving forward. I know they've said that McCarron is probably going to be coming back soon, but to me it doesn't really matter. If what you saw today is what you're going to see moving forward, I think that's a great lineup, and I really like seeing Forsberg and Duchesne back with Granlund. I think that's a line that's going to make things happen, and you know what? We need to see some more Roman Josi points. I'd love to see him get to 100. So, look, it's a quick turnaround before the game tomorrow. And the games against the St. Louis Blues are going to be honoring Terry Crisp before the game. And, of course, Terry Crisp had a long career playing a lot of seasons with the Blues. So it'll be a very special day for him, his family, everyone involved with the team. You're looking at one of your hockey dads, Nashville, retiring and stepping away from the game. And I tell you what, it's been a long career for him, both as a player, as a coach, and as a broadcaster. So you're seeing a true legend of the sport retiring tomorrow. So make sure you tune in and check that out. And with all that being said, Charlie, I know I went a bit long today, but I'm going to send it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Sean C. Smith. You can find his work at ontheforecheck.com. You can find him on Twitter at SCSOTF, and you can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. He's got the intel that you need to know, and he was out there on the front lines at Bridgestone Arena today, not only talking to the head coach, but also talking to and celebrating the career of Terry Crisp, at least as far as the Nashville Predators portion of Terry's career goes. Crispy, you're the best. Crispy forever. Love that guy. You guys know how I feel about Terry Crisp here in the trenches. He is the top shelf Renegade, truly. When it comes to the box score, let's go ahead and give you some numbers real quick. Matt Duchesne scored a goal in this game. His 39th of the season. That's the team lead, and also the single-season franchise record at this time. I expect that record to be broken at least one or two more times this season, hopefully. Forsberg right there on the verge of getting to 40 goals. Duchesne right there on the verge of getting to 40 goals. It would be great to see both of them get there. Granlund picks up a goal in this game, his 10th of the season. Tolvanen back on the score sheet with the goal. It's great to see him doing all of the little things right now, getting rewarded a great opportunity on that new youth line. And the captain, Roman Josi, his 20th goal of the season. On the assist side of things, Philip Forsberg had a very strong game. Didn't put the puck in the net, but did pick up 2 assists and also led the team with 7 shots on goal. Glass picks up an assist, his first as a Nashville Predator. Granlund also with an assist. Johansen, his world-class distribution, picks up an assist. Tomasino picks up an assist at home, and Fabro also in that category. Jeannot led the team with hits in 5, and I thought that he looked physically imposing and intimidating as we expect him to look out there on the ice. For the Nashville Predators against the Edmonton Oilers, they simply didn't bring the physicality. They didn't bring the jam. They didn't bring the snarl or any sandpaper with them at all. So it's good to see Tanner Jeannot shoving fools down in several opportunities and working hard in the corners. It's great to see the herd line when they were put together, bringing the cycle and bringing the jam. So pretty much that's it for your box score. John Hynes did a relatively good job today of limiting the forwards in time on ice, getting set up for tomorrow's game against St. Louis. Granlund led the team in time on ice at 18:45 as far as forwards go, and then you've got to go down to Jeannot at 18:17, Sissons at 18:05. So you see the players that got the time on ice in this game. Forsberg at 15:54, that is highly good, reasonable, and manageable. Johansen at 14:27. These players should be fully ready to go tomorrow against St. Louis. On the defensive side of things, a little bit different. Now, you got to give the Preds a lot of stick taps, love, and respect in this one, playing almost the entire game with only 5 defensemen. it was Luzon getting injured early in the first period. He only skated 33 seconds in this game. So, of course, it had to be made up somewhere, and you see multiple defensemen with some pretty big numbers. Ekholm, 27-44 in this game. Carrier, 26-46, and Romagnosi, 26-21. You also saw Borowiecki even get 16-47 in time on ice. So great job by the remaining five to step up and handle the business today. That's not easy to do in the NHL, to play almost an entire game with only five defensemen. So again, a lot of respect to the Preds for being able to step up and handle that business. You know who else I got a lot of respect for? Stripe Digital Solutions. You can find Stripe Digital Solutions on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or you can go to stripedigitalsolutions.com. The logo on the wall, the t-shirt that I'm wearing right here under this bag chuckers jacket, renegadesofpuck.com, my social media plan, my brand building, all of that takes place with the assistance of Stripe Digital Solutions. It is nearly impossible to get around or manage or deal with all of the different platforms and algorithms and all the different things that you need to deal with today as a small business owner and as somebody who's trying to get their project launched and off the ground. If it wasn't for Stripe Digital Solutions, we wouldn't be able to do any of these things. So we sure do appreciate what they've done for us, and I know how much Brandy can do to help you and your small business grow. Please just reach out to Stripe Digital Solutions and get the conversation going and find out what they can do to help your business. You may not even be thinking about what they can do to help you, but believe me, Brandy will know as soon as you get the conversation going. So I encourage you, again, I work with great people and I have great partners here with the Renegades of Puck who do great work, and otherworldly talented artists and somebody who can really help your business grow. Stripe Digital Solutions. I encourage each and every one of you, check it out today. Brian Baston runs the Renegade Analytics desk. He's also got the update on the Nashville Predators magic number for clinching a playoff berth. You can check out his charts at ontheforecheck.com. You can see his work right here on Renegades of Puck TV, and you can also find him on Twitter at Brian Baston.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. Brian Baston here at the Renegade Analytics desk, and I'm here to give you your update on the Nashville Predators magic number for the playoffs. Today, the Nashville Predators defeated the Chicago Blackhawks 4-3 in a much-needed win after their recent skid, especially in that game against the Edmonton Oilers on Thursday night. And the Predators did walk away with the 2 points and the regulation win, two things that they desperately need for this playoff run. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait to find out about how Dallas does, but luckily, because the Nashville now currently sits 2 points ahead, again, same scenario as Thursday, Nashville will still end the night in the first wild card spot with their win. They don't have too much time, though, to enjoy that, as they have to turn around and play the St. Louis Blues tomorrow in the second half of their back-to-back. And so Nashville's needed all the help they could get, and actually they did get a little bit. The Vegas Golden Knights did fall today, so they have now down to 87 points with 6 games remaining, which means they can only max out at 99 points, which means Nashville, who started the day with a magic number of 12, get the 2 points from their win, and they gain 2 more points from Vegas's loss. So the playoff magic number right now, as it stands, is 8 for the Nashville Predators, which means they could clinch in a matter of 2 or 3 games if they get their act together and they play like they did today. And that is your playoff magic number update. Back to you, Charlie.
You can find him on Twitter at Brian Baston. You can check out his work at ontheforecheck.com. He's got the charts that you need to see and the numbers that you need to know. Stepping to him in the digital realm is simply a mistake. Brian, appreciate you. Stick taps, love, and respect for bringing the magic numbers to the Renegades of Puck. It's time to wrap this episode of Renegades of Puck TV up, my good Renegades, and I sure do appreciate each and every one of you for jumping in the trenches. Listen, when it comes to no half stepping, it's never the easy path. Less than 24 hours before the puck drop on the next game, and here we are, delivering the goods, giving you a fully updated standing statistics and wild card races. We've got it all covered right here on Renegades of Puck TV. I see so many of you out there having discussions and discourse all over social media about how this topic is handled when it comes to the mainstream media, and I'm going to tell you, the conversation is beginning to become a little bit frustrating. All of you complaining about this radio show or that host, those people don't care about this topic. It is time that you come correct and understand that they only pay you lip service because they are frankly forced to. If they didn't have to talk about this topic, they would never talk about this topic. Did they invest the time in actually watching the games this weekend before coming in and talking about it on Monday for approximately 3 minutes? Or will they simply look up the box score just before the commercial break ends, and then read you the score and read you who the goal scorers were with no analysis, no understanding, or any details about what had happened? Will they understand that St. Louis and Minnesota had a world-class hockey game before the St. Louis Blues came to Nashville to face off against the Predators? Will they have any nuance, understanding, or topic of conversation that is satisfactory to you? Will they even listen to you if you decide to interact with them or call in? Too many of you are giving too much oxygen, energy, and air to the people out there that don't give a damn about what you want to talk about and what you want to hear about. We go next level, above and beyond. We believe in no half-stepping, and it is not an easy path. Do you know how easy it would be to sell out and be a total dickhead and treat you guys awful just to get clicks and say stupid things and throw bait out there all the time just so you guys would interact and my engagement numbers would be bigger than they are? Damn that. I'm not doing it. I'm going to do this the way that I know it can work. And it is the long and it is the slow process and it is the uphill climb. But guess what? A culture built on positivity is way better than anything that exists out there today. And if it is what I have to dedicate the rest of my fucking life to, it is exactly what I am going to do. So I encourage each and every one of you to jump in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck and stop half-stepping and stop worrying about what other these mediocre milquetoast people with microphones are out there doing. We have it covered. It's time for everybody to fall in line. Get in the ranks, Renegades.